Hello everybody, I'm Serta and welcome back to Foundry. Well, I did a bit of work between episodes. I have my power problem really well sorted out now, and I've started on manufacturing. Manufacturing first of all to get some costs down, and then we're going to move on to making more drones and robots, and we're working our way towards making the big structures. I do need more power because some of the bigger structures really use a lot of power. And right now I don't really have enough. But like I do, I have tried to simplify the design. I've tried to set up a factory that looks relatively decent without just making massive amounts of platforms and having factories that just make loads and loads of everything. So I'm doing things a little bit differently. So today I'd like to get some fuel up to the space station, cut down those costs. I want to cut off our existing use of ignium powder because we don't need it anymore. Start thinking about what I'm going to do with this area. I need to tidy it up because the robot factories are going to move out of here, because the robot production is going to move out of here, and this is going to basically just be for science and a few pots. And if we look at the map, you can see what's been happening. We have a lot of setup. I'll go through all of this. We have a lot more power now. Yeah, I'm not going to take the chance of dropping again. So lots to do. Let's get stuck in. Let's have a look at what I've got so far. Right, I have ignium coming in, I have the mineral rock coming in, I have a facility for the technum processing, there's even science. So that's just making rods at the moment, and only have half of these on. The same with the xenoferrite, only half of those are currently working. But I can scale them up now because I have more power. So these belts are coming through, and right over here we have our little steel area which I've set up so it's expandable. Right now we are producing plenty because each of these is giving us 30 per minute. So we're basically getting 150 steel per minute, and I can expand this as I need to. And I'm then adding the steel onto the bus, and we go over to this factory, and this is where I'm making ignium fuel rods. Now, the way I'm going to set up the factories in this is not how I've set them up before. Basically, these are the main resources that you need for pretty much anything to get built. Now, short of maybe a couple that I haven't got on the belt yet, but between these 5 belts, water and olumite that I have in the pipes above, there isn't much else that you need to run a factory. So the fuel rods, for example, I'm pulling the steel and the xenoferrite plates out of here. I'm making machinery parts. The machinery parts are making the advanced machinery parts. Those are being fed, and this isn't expandable, but I suppose if I wanted to, I could put another batch of them over that side. Then these ones are taking the olumite, making the low density olumite. So we've got 2 of those, and they're making enough to support actually more than 5 chemical plants that are making the fuel. Oh, I forgot to mention, the very last machine over here is actually making the casings at a rate of 16 per minute. So yeah, these are the fuel rod casings, low density olumite, fuel, and those are being fed into a machine along with some wire coils that are being made over here, it's very loud here, some crushed ignium powder, and we're making a lot of it. Now the reason that I'm going to be making the ignium powder at the locations is because it's easier to transport the 24 ignium ore than it is to transport the 120 output. So, you know, if I had to make the ignium powder somewhere else, I would have to transport 5 times as much as this. So I'm just going to take this belt through because we are going to use ignium powder in a couple of places. Anyway, all of that's being fed into these fluid assemblers, and they are making each 4 ignium rods per minute. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot. I'm making 12, but it does work. And I have replaced my fuel on the turbines, on the boilers, with these ignium fuel rods, and this box is filling up. It's actually backing up. And I have 10 boilers now. So I'm probably going to have a lot more than this. And of course, I'll have the solar power as well as a support to this. But honestly, if I was to match the production on these 10 with solar panels, I think I'd need 55 solar panels and 55 batteries. Also, I dropped down a couple of 10 megawatt transformers. The reason is because if we go and have a look at our grid stats, we're using 15 megawatts. So the small transformers only transfer 5 megawatts. So yeah. Anyway, these ignium fuel rods are fantastic. They last so long. so long. All right, so that's pretty much that. So even making polymer boards, circuit boards, power cells can be done in a setup like this. If your initial input machine, like this machine here, is making a whole bunch of these barrels, now it's making more than I need, so the machine just basically switches off when there's a backup. So it doesn't mean that you're using all of this all the time. The only thing you need to watch now is your mines to make sure that you are keeping it going, and you can pop around and visit them from time to time. And if the amount in your storage at the mines is going down, then you add mines. So yeah, there we go. So I'm making spaceship fuel as well, and it's a very similar process to that. I'm making barrels, and the barrels are going into the final product. I'm making fuel again with the low density into the fuel, and then going into a couple of processes with all the associated things, including the Thermalite, because I now also have another spot that I'm collecting Thermalite from, and that is going and it's making these fuel cells. Now I've got 2 big boxes, and they're both full because these things don't stack, or they're almost full. These things don't stack very well. Only to 20, so I need to ship them out as soon as possible, which will happen somewhere, not over here, around the other side of this. Maybe what I'll do is shift this up, because I don't intend expanding this facility any further. But yeah, here we have our little Thermalite spot. I'm bringing Thermalite in from the space station, and it is going into this box, which is shipping it downstairs, and we'll just quickly pop down. Well, when I say quickly, it's not that quickly because this is like all the way to the bottom, but we're almost there. But we're here, and it's a similar setup to what we had before on the other side, which I will actually use that setup to supplement this line as well. But in this case, I have the T2 lava smelters, and I have 6 of them, and they are bringing me in quite a lot. I'm not sure if the recipe changed or something, but now it's 20 in and 20 out per minute. I feel like it was different. Oh, maybe it was because I was using the tier 1s. Anyway, so we're getting the Thermalite plates. And I have lots of space if I need to put any more of these down, but we're good for now. So the Thermalite bars are coming down on the freight lift and being fed out, going into the lava smelters and returning the plates, and they're going back up. Simple setup. So what I may need to do here is just move this platform up to the top. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't hold a heck of a lot, so that's fine. And I have a buffer, so yeah, if I disconnect it, it won't be too much of a problem. I just need to make sure that I have enough platforms because I want to get a medium ship. Actually, I don't need a medium ship. I could get a small ship to carry these up. It should be fine. Now, I don't see any way to use these platforms to do more than one product. If there's a way, I'd like to know, but you know, there's all of these inputs and outputs. Maybe I can send things up in this. I don't know. Let's drag a belt down here and see, and we'll make that an output. And we are going to be, I don't know. Are we going to be shipping it? No, we aren't. Ah, okay. So that's not possible. We need to actually have a separate platform. Oh well, that's fine. And I'll just put all of those fuel cells back. So yeah, I could use the space a little bit better, but there's very few of these, so I think I would probably be able to use a small ship. So I'll put a small platform next to this small platform. I'll turn this one. Yep, that'll be good. Now, I don't really need to do it very quickly, so let's cut off this supply for now. Yep, there's only 102 in there, so we'll remove this platform. Now, we really aren't using many of the Thermalite bars now, so taking this out isn't really a big risk. And those pads are only about 20, I think they're about 20 long. So if I do, yeah, and 10 wide, I think that might be a bit overkill. Yeah, we'll do that. That works. And I only have one shipping pad, so I'm going to have to go and make another. But in the meantime, that's there. And this one will be bringing the Thermalite down, so I will immediately ramp it down. All right, let's hop through the floor. And where am I going? Right to there. All right. So we do it like this. Press R, go around the corner. Press R, come this way. Press Q to go down. Come on. Why are you not going down? There we go. And I think that puts us on the ground. Yeah, actually that didn't work out terribly. Plug that into there, and I need to just configure this thing. So where's from the space station to the factory, Thermalite bar, and confirm. That's fine. I don't need a lot of items, so this should be okay. We'll just 100 at a time. That's good. Confirm. Let me go get myself another landing pad. Let's send some ship fuel up to the space station. It'll save us some costs. It's not a huge amount, but every little bit helps. Alright, I have the landing pad made. While I'm here, let me just grab some extra belts, and I might as well top up the other things as well. I have some, but yep, can always use topping up. Oh, and by the way, I made a laser mining tool, which is really nice. You don't have to be right on top of things to be able to break them down. Yeah, look at that. I'll leave that one. Yeah, much nicer than the little mining tool we had. So I'll close those up. Probably didn't need this much space, but who knows? Maybe I'll have another launch pad somewhere over here. Alright, small shipping pad. We'll rotate it. Leave a little bit of space. Yep, that'll work. Get an output over here. Run that straight in. Okay, I think that's right. Now it's stopped because I haven't configured it. So configure. Where's from the factory to the space station? We want to send ship fuel confirm. And I'll just, well, let's make that 100 at a time. I'm going to need more ships, and I'll buy more ships. But there you go. We've got 20 in, and we have a ship coming down to collect them. And those will be able to get stored in our space station, more than we can store on the ground, actually. So if we hop into our space station, we now have, because I did the station upgrade somewhere in here. I honestly can't remember. Actually, it might have been a research. Anyway, we have the fuel depot. So, yes, as you can see, there's 1,000 liters. I have 4% in here. And we can store 25,000 liters. Now, I don't know if one of those fuel cells is a liter. Current target, 10% of tank capacity, 25,000 liters. That sounds pretty good. And you can see some of it just disappeared because we actually are using it. We have a look at our finances. Under accounting history, some of the spaceship refueling costs should disappear. It's not a massive amount, but, you know, every bit helps. The market spend, that is 2 items. It's the ignium powder and it's the construction parts. So let's do something about that. So we have our old Olumite facility down here, and this facility is not doing a heck of a lot, honestly. We are sending circuit boards to the main central factory for one of the science packs. That can stay for a while because it's not really affecting this. Now right here, we have this whole setup making Olumite gas. That goes into the production of energy cells, and that's also feeding in to make one of the science packs. And that's using a lot of this, the ignium powder, which is being shipped in. It's being ordered and shipped in. So I'm thinking I'm going to cut this facility off because I can make this and the Olumite acid over on that side. So why not? So for now, I am going to shut this down. It's disabled, so hopefully that slowly empties out. And then I'm going to cancel the order on the other side. Now, eventually, every small factory will be able to make their own stuff. I'm thinking perhaps to have some polymer boards on the bus. I'm not sure yet. I don't know if there's a demand for it down the line. Perhaps a standalone polymer board factory. It'll also make it easier to make the circuit boards later. Yeah, anyway, we have all the stuff over at the base to be able to do that. Our space station is looking pretty good now. Really big. Anyway, I'm not doing any research and I'm not doing any upgrades on the space station right now, so we need to sort that out. Right, space station upgrades. Let's see, what are we going to do? I have upgraded the vaults to 1 million, so I have some spare cash. The problem, though, is the construction materials. I could do this whole expansion, 5,000 construction material. You know what? Nah, I think I need to make the construction material. And maybe that's the next step in this evolution. But yeah, before I do that, I should actually start doing some upgrade, if there is anything that we can do. We could do the antenna upgrade. Yeah, that's pretty cheap. Alright, let's do that one. And then research. Well, we are kind of getting to the point where we need to have the tier 5 research unlocked. What is that? That's the orbital laser. Yeah. Assembly lines. Conveyors? Yeah, conveyors Mark IV. That might be a good thing. Oh no, I can't do that because it needs Science Pack 5 already. So it's only these 3 that I can do currently. So let's just get them out of the way. And also while I'm here, let's go to our spaceship sales platform, Galactic Market. There we go. I'm going to cancel this ignium powder. Right, that is done. And what's going to happen here, the science might slow down a little, because of what I've done there. But this whole place is going to get neatened up. The robots or the drones that are being made here are going to move. They're going to have their own facilities over around that side. There will be more space to do things over in this area, like make a little bit of oleumite acid and maybe some circuit boards for the science. Also, we'll need hydraulic pistons, I think it is, and something else for the tier 5 science. Let's pop in here and have a look. Oh yeah, we're going to need CPUs. And that's a process that I've sort of started. If we go to the map, right over here is a textulite ore vein. I've half set up a mining facility there. And right now, I think the first level that I got to had 2 double nodes, so that's producing 640 tellurite. I keep getting the name wrong. Tellurite, yeah. So that's pretty straightforward. And the factory for the CPUs is pretty easy to set up, as long as you got your ratios right. Right, so let's have a look at what it will cost for the construction materials. So if we go over here, so Thermalite sheets, no problem, we've got them. Actually, you know what, I'm going to put an assembler down so I get a better idea. Right, so we've got an assembler, we can configure that and say, all right, I would like you to make construction materials. 120 Thermalite sheets per minute, that is pretty stiff. We need beams, we need advanced machinery parts, we need concrete, and we need electronic components. None of those are a problem. We already have the Thermalite and the steel on the belt. We have everything that we need on the belt for that, and I'm bringing in water and minerals so I can make the concrete. All of that stuff is here. So let me start making my plans. And the plans will include more platforms. So I will leave a little separation between these two. I have a lot of space, so there's no need to cramp all the factories together. Okay, so right over there. I don't know, I hope that's big enough. It probably isn't. I'm going to need to go wider because there are a few processes in this. Pull out my laser tool, do away with some foliage, and then close up the holes. Done. So the first step, I think, is probably going to be to make the concrete. So this actually puts out quite a lot. So we get 200 construction material per minute. If I can't double that, it's going to have to be 1 for now anyway. But 200 per minute is a pretty good output. And we have a place to store massive amounts. So while we're getting everything ready, that can build up. So these 3 items need to be made. I will start, let's say, with the concrete, we need 40 per minute. Right, concrete is made in a casting machine. And I have a casting machine. And it's going to need cement. And that makes 16. So I'm going to need 3 of these. Not ideal numbers. Ah, the cement is going to actually need xenoferrite. Oh, yes. I didn't put a line of cement in here. I was thinking about making a cement line, but I was looking at the recipes for like the robots, which will be the main thing on this production line. And none of them need cement or concrete. Okay, so I think it's fine. I can make a little concrete facility over here, and then I'll save the overflow because we might want to build some concrete structures. But I'm going to have to add, and I really don't want to do this, maybe I'm going to bring the xenoferrite over through underneath, because I think it's the only place we're going to use it. I don't see that we're going to use concrete for very, very much. So no point in having it on the bus to go all the way around. Keep this standard. So as you can see, the way I'm doing it is I'm basically just hopping over the belt. Because the factories aren't squeezed together, I have space to do this. I just hop over into a splitter and then ship what I need into the factory. And so far it's been working out. Looks relatively neat. Alright, we do have some xenoferrite ore over here, so that's fine. I will actually split that off and pop a splitter, also known as a balancer, and drag this a whole long... Oh, hello. I'm going to need to just dodge that pipe. That is fine. I'll just carry it on. And then there are... Oh, the water pipe is down here as well. So we'll pin it. We'll continue the line, and will it let me drop it? It will. Continue, pin it, and then go up. No, I don't even know where I am right now, but I think we're getting close to where we need to be. So that is where I'll stop. Yeah, we're almost here. And I'll just stop it right there. That came out quite nicely, actually. Cement is made in a crusher, and we needed 24 cement. So let's see what that takes. Interesting. Doesn't seem to be in the crusher Mark II. Right, that's because that's not a crusher. Right, in the crusher, put that recipe in. So that will make 20. I need 24. So now this is not balancing very nicely, but what the heck. Okay, so I'm going to need 2 of these to start with. Right, so 2 crushers. Let's put them in line. We leave space, and I think maybe I should have come across one more for the 2 inputs. That's good. Right, I've made a hole. This is where I will bring the xenoferrite rubble up, and this is where I'll bring the minerals through. Recheck everything. Yep. And before I forget, let's just put the second one in. Now these will overproduce, but it's better than underproducing for the rest of the system. So because there's no real way to balance the input and output, there's no like satisfactories, underclocking and overclocking, it's always better to overproduce in the earlier stages before you get to what you actually want to build. All right, and then I will just connect this little belt up into here. Now, why do I not see any xenoferrite? What did I miss? Ah, yeah, I put this balancer on the wrong way. Now that's a bit of a problem. There we go, that's fixed. Cool. So all I really need to do now is drag this into there. Sorted. Now, the minerals. So I need to take that, and it's a total of 6 out. And then ramp that one up and that one down. I think I've got the lining up right. Then I need to slap a balancer in here. Put the belt into there. Feed this machine. Input there, and then double lane input there, and we are now making more than enough cement for our facility. So because I want to make this extendable, because maybe we do want to do more later on, or make them faster, I don't see why, because, you know, time is not really an issue in this game. I will bring the belt out in this direction, and we will see where it goes from there. Super, that's one component. Then we need to do the advanced machinery parts, and they are done in an assembler, but there's some stuff that needs to be done before that. So let's go and have a look at the assembler. Okay, so the advanced machinery parts, we already have the steel being made. We just need to make machinery parts. One machine puts out 53 per minute, which is more than we need by a long shot, so we wouldn't have to upgrade that later on if we wanted to double up. So we need to start off with the xenoferrite plates. That makes 80, which one assembler will not have a problem doing. Yeah, let's do this. I will do it with the mindset that later on I may want to just double up this facility. So let's do this. Oh, where did I put that console? Yeah, it's fine right there. Now, because the steel plates is right here, I don't need to raise it up. I'm not hopping over anything. So I'll just whip a couple out. Put the balancer in, and then belt this over to here. That will be the input, and it's the only one on this side. That's why I'm putting it here. And then the steel is the other component that we're going to need to have come down. So we'll put the ramp in there, take some platforms, or take some conveyors out, get our ramps in, and this. Now, sometimes they do have a little bit of trouble going exactly where you want them when they have no support. So I can just, for now, pop a piece of belt in there, then it goes where I want, and I can take that piece out. And then drag this belt over to here, and that's going to go through. Now we'll leave space here in case I want to put another one of these machines in. But input into this one, this is going to then make the machinery parts, and it's super loud. Machinery parts will go down here with the steel, so we'll output from there. I'm just going to try and step away from that noise a little bit. Wow. Right, and we can pop this one in over here. We only need the one for now. Input over there, input over there, and then I'm going to have a double lane output. So second lane output over there, and we can grab this and bring it up to there. So that's going to wrap around and go to the rest of the facility. Let me do this output so I can see what's going on here. Make sure that we are good. Yep, we have the cement. Oh, I didn't finish the concrete facility. Of course. Yeah, completely lost track. I'll bring the cement over and we'll do the concrete a little further down. So extend the platform and we continue. So I'll do the electronic components next. Those are pretty easy. Basically, it's just Technum. We need 20 per minute, which means just one machine of each. We need 80 coils, or 80 wire coil. One machine makes 160. Perfect. All right, so 2 inputs over here, and I need to be careful. I'm running out. Okay, so we'll give that a little bit of separation right there. Actually, I'm going to move it one closer. Doesn't need to be that far away. Yeah, that's good. Then I'm going to need to just bring the Technum off, put it in over here. That's right, the Technum rods. And then the same thing with the ramps and balances. And plug that in and drag that over to there. And this machine will be making the wire coil. And this belt will continue through. And then there will be an output also going through. There you go. There's our wire coil done. And I'm going to need to go and pick up some more of these. Let's line this up. Excellent. Plug in the Technum rods and the wires and set that to be the electronic components. Get away from that noise a little bit. Now we're going to have an output on this side again. Now these, there are quite a few items coming into this, so it might be a slight mess of belts. But the last thing I need to make is the concrete. That's obviously before we start making the construction materials. So once again, I'm going to need to collect more belts, and while I'm up there, I might as well pick up a couple more assemblers. And at the same time, I might as well pick up some pipes. I'm going to expand this as I need to expand it. So the next thing we need is a casting machine, and we need 2 casting machines. All right, let's set this up. We'll have the cement coming in from there. We'll have the water from up top and the mineral rock. Oh, I'm going to have to make gravel. That's right. So I'm going to need to have a crusher to make some gravel. Crusher makes 60 gravel. We only need 32, so that's great. One crusher. And we'll run that through to here. Set the recipe to make gravel. Perfect. And I may as well start extending belts. Have an intake over here and output on this side. And this is probably going to be one of the most complex builds. So the fact that it's like it is not bad. Right, what was I doing over here? Yeah, these need to be output onto this belt. So an output there, and that's that one. Let's just make sure that we're getting everything. What am I missing over here? Probably just a recipe. So let's do that. It's going to be more noise. And now I can put down the 2 casting machines, and they have 2 solid inputs. So we'll space accordingly. And the water comes in from this side. Good. So like that, and we'll have the next one next to it. We can instantly just wrap this one around and feed it down. The other thing we need is the cement. Now that is going to come out, it's going to come out narrow. In fact, I need to make this even tighter. Oh, I don't have space in my inventory. Yeah, this is fine. I can actually bring that belt over the top, all the way through, and drop it down there. That's good. So I'll ramp it up straight out of the gate. Yeah, this might be a little bit of a tight mess over here. Because now I need to bring these over as well as those. So that's fine. I think it's possible. And then on this side, I will output the concrete, and this is also going to be wraparound, just like that. We'll see how far we need to go. Alright, output there. But I think with the appropriate level of squeeze, we can get everything to where it needs to go. So that's an input, that is an input. Second lane inputs, there and there. Make sure we've set the recipes. That's concrete, and so is that. And now we just need to plug the water in. So a little bit of pipe extension. So we'll bring this one through. Now the water is in front, so we don't need to hop it over the pipe. But I just need to put a little junction in it. Junction in, get the pipe, and we are going to need to wrap it. Let's see. How am I going to do this exactly? So I'll get a T-junction over here. Put it like that. Good. Okay, that'll work. Bend in there, and then I'm going to have to come out to dodge this machine. It's basically one pipe. That bend in, pipe across to there. Wait, I don't think I could have put water in this side, could I? You know what? I might have been able to. I don't know if it goes through. Those both look like outputs for some reason. And one last piece to go. All right, now they all have water. Why is it telling me that it doesn't have water? Oh no, you cannot be serious. The water's on the other side. I keep making this mistake. I never look. Alright, let me fix this up and I'll be right back. And I think with that, these are both working. Excellent, excellent. We've got concrete. Now I need to bring all the other stuff over. But first I need to extend the platform again. And I just realized I actually needed 3 of these casting machines. So yeah, let me fix that. I could have put them sideways, I suppose. 3 of them, and they are all working. Grab the output and fix that. And there we go, all the concrete that we need. And the final step is a simple assembler, and I need to bring everything in. So I'm going to start with the closest one over here, which is the electronic components. And drag that, drop it down. I think I'll drop it down from here. Okay, that works, and that can come in there. Then let's grab the advanced machinery parts. They're going to need to come out by 1, and then drop them down at the same point. So R and then Q, and bring that around. Okay, now, let's see what kind of a challenge we have. We're going to need the Thermalite and the steel to come in on the other side. Block myself with the Thermalite. I don't need this anymore, so we can take that down. So this is going to happen a little bit differently, because as you can see, the Thermalite and the steel are right next to each other. So the Thermalite will be the last one to come through. So that'll be lane 2 over here. So we'll put that over there, and I'll also bring the steel in there. And we can plan for the Thermalite ramp, and then bring that belt over to there, and then I just need to connect this up. And then the belt, and we have the Thermalite plates going in. Good stuff. Now, I don't want to have a clash, so there's going to have to be at least a bit of separation between the 2 balances, and that means we can bring this belt back down over here, and that means we can bring it up over here. It's doing that thing again, so do that, and that belt continues. Perfect. And then this one will just come through to there. No problem at all. Actually, that looks pretty neat. And bring those 2 items in. Input there and input there. And then put these inputs in. And then a 3-lane loader input there. And that, folks, yeah, that should get us started on making construction materials. But we need a place to store them. And the regular storage box is not ideal. Right, so now I'm going to extend backwards because we need to have the storage for the machinery parts, and we might as well get the construction industry set up and started. So I'm going to make some platform space, because what we're putting down here is pretty big. And close up the last of the holes, and hopefully I've got enough space here. So let's start this thing. I'm probably going to need more platform, but let's have a look. So the first thing we're going to put down, this monstrous beast called the construction warehouse. It is big. And where are the inputs? And there we go, there's the panel. So I'm going to put that down right in here. I'm also going to have a shipping pad in here, because I do need to take some up to the top. Do I have a spare small one? Let's see how much space I have. I do, actually. Ooh, nifty. Yeah, that'll work. And I might as well get the output for this going, and we'll put it into a big box to start with. The output will be... let's put it over there. I'll just build 2 lines so that it goes a little faster. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a balancer. Now, I could have lined this up slightly better, but that's okay. Let's see. Yep, we're getting construction parts. Fantastic. I'm going to run this out, I think to there. I'm going to put a balancer in, and I'll take one side down that way, and then this one will go in there. And priority on the output will be set to this one, which will send our construction parts to the space station, reducing our need to import substantially. And there we go. So I definitely need to get more ships, but that's okay. Where's from the factory to the space station will be construction material, confirm, and 100 at a time is fine. Better than what we were getting. All right, good. That'll go in, and then the overflow will come through and run into this big thing that stores 25,000 of them. Quite a lot more than what this would store. considering this only stacks 25 high. So that has stuff in, that's being delivered. This is starting to get material. Yeah, there we go. It's got 300, good. And that means, of course, that we can go back to our little setup and cancel another recurring order. We don't need to buy construction materials anymore. So confirm, deleted, and then I can reassign spaceships, I think. Planetary shipping it will be. Now costs should start coming down. We're not going to see it immediately, but you can already see market spend is off. And where we were at 21,000 profit, we are now at 34,000 profit. So the next thing to start getting rid of is the debt, because that's whacking us 8,500 a month, which is not good. And I think I'm going to pay it off in chunk. Well, let's make a payment. Let's get rid of, I don't know, 200,000. Boom, 4.8. Excellent. And I see that we do have a bit of R&D, transport bot. Let's see. I think I want to do the efficiency for now. And we also have an upgrade for the light bot, and I think I'm going to do the same. Actually, let's get the weight sorted out on this one so we can carry more. Yeah, that's good. So in between episodes, I will just get that olumite acid sorted out in this area. We need to have it flowing so that we can make these energy cells. So I'll replace that, because I am no longer supplying the crushed ignium or the ignium powder to that other facility, which is bringing that long pipe over here. We don't need that anymore. In fact, we don't need the circuit boards being made over there anymore either. So this place is going to get a major overhaul at some point. And we're not doing any research because honestly, there isn't much left. I suppose I could get the modular storage tanks. Those will be useful. I'll get that started. And just to pop back to our little space station view, we can do some station upgrades, but first let's have a look at the storage. We have 1,400 spaceship fuel, so that's good. And we are up to 3,800. The ship can hold 17,000. I'm going to let it go to about 10,000 minimum to keep. Let's go maximum 10,000. Yeah, I think that would probably be good. I don't think there are any upgrades that need more than like 5,000. I could be wrong. Let's have a look at the hull expansion. That needs 5,000. Yeah, I'm not going to do that yet. Let's see if there's anything cheaper to do. Orbital laser. Let's see the cost. 2,000 construction material. I'm going to have to do it at some point, so might as well. Although, we have a hangar bay expansion. That's cheap. Let's do that one. Get it out of the way. And we have all of these construction materials. So we are not dependent on anyone for supplies right now. And our little factory is starting to look pretty nice. So yeah, I'm going to move those bot factories. I'm going to make a couple of little bot factories over here for the minor stuff, the easy to make stuff. And in the next episode, we need to make CPUs. And we need quite a few CPUs. And I checked it out a little bit, and I see that they've changed the recipe a little bit. You don't need as many, I think it was chemical processors or casting machines that you needed before. I think you needed 10. Now you could probably get away with 2. So that system has been improved. But there are going to be a couple more big landing pads along the back over here for the rest of the construction industry. There are the transporters, I think, and then there are the construction ships. So the transporters, basically, when you start building something, the transporters take the construction material to that location, and then the construction ships bring the little construction drones and they actually build them. So that'll be interesting. That's a nice building there. So priority now is getting our stocks on the ship sorted out, and everything else will overflow into this. And when you start those big constructions, you don't need all the construction materials ready to go. You can start building and they will take as the materials become available. So if you like this video, give us a like. If you want to see more, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. Leave me your comments, let me know your thoughts, and tell me what you think of my little setup. Now, obviously this place is a mess still. It's going to have to be changed. All the belts need to be upgraded. I need to have a facility somewhere making tier 5 research, so I'm going to start planning that so that we can get the super fast belts. We don't need them right now, but we will near the beginning of the lines where there's going to be a lot of stuff and things are getting split off. And at some point, I might run a bit short of a material or two here, so I can bring more in and supplement those lines, whether I run belts underneath or I get another delivery depot somewhere. But thank you very much for joining me, and until next time, cheers!